Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. And Gary, I got to go fishing with two of the really good charter captains in the Slidell area. Captain Mike Gallo of Angling Adventures of Louisiana. Captain Dudley Vanborn of Captain Dudley's Charters, also a manufacturer of V&G lures. And boy, what a trip. We got up and the wind was down. The forecast was calling for 5 to 10. That lasted about 5 to 10 minutes. The wind came up out of the east, and it was a pretty exciting ride across Lake Borgne. And as we were crossing Lake Borgne, headed for that Biloxi Marsh, that northern end of it, whew, dirty water. Still got a lot of dirty water to contend with in the Wrigley's, Lake Pontchartrain, Lake Borgne. I'm hoping these last couple of fronts will be enough to shove some of that dirty water on out, and then we'll get some return southeast and east wind and bring some good, clean, salty water in there, because people have been limited to catching a lot of the bottom feeders, the black drum, the redfish, the sheep's head. Speckled trout, there's been a few little bright spots, some signs that they're starting to pick up, because we did have a few water temperature warm-ups come around, and those areas really started to pay off. But what we did was head to the Biloxi Marsh, and as we were kidding Dudley, you'll see him, he caught a trout. The trout followed Dudley. He's like the Pied Piper. I heard somebody refer to him one time. But most part, we were looking for redfish, fishing them with a couple of methods, popping corks, spinner blades, also fishing them with soft jig heads, soft jigs, hard jigs and soft plastics, and picked up a nice mess of them. But the focus of what we wanted to do was talk about netting. Because Dudley, anybody that's ever with Dudley, you know, you kind of get a little nervous when you guys start slinging 5-pound, 6-pound trout.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. I fished with Dudley, and don't you holler for a net if it wasn't over 5 pounds.
Right. Well, I talked to him about when to use a net and when not to, and also Mike Gallo. And you're talking about two guys kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum on a number of different things, about when to flip, when not to flip. Mike is a philosophy, scientific thinking kind of guy, and Dudley, it's like comes natural. It reminds me of a lot of baseball players. You've got hitters who are naturals. They'll hit a pitch up in their eyes and drive it over the fence. They'll swing it one down in the dirt and send it into the outfield for a hit. Then you got guys that study the game. They study the pitch. They'll only hit at a certain pitch. They guess a lot of pitches. These two guys kind of remind me of that, the different types. Both of them are successful.
Know when to pull and know when not to pull.
That's right. And, of course, Mike Gallo, we talked to him about when to use the net, and he came up with some really good tips, too. So here we go. We're going to take you to the Biloxi Marsh. Captains Mike Gallo and Dudley Vandenborn. We call this package Netiquette. Yeah, I think that's a little big one. Hope he's got a spinnerbait hanging off his lip.
You like that spinner?
Yeah, I did. I like that big willow leaf. I ain't all that big. Let's see. I'm not sure he's a netter. What do you think?
Well,
he's close.
he had good luck today.
Let's try netting this one. Whoa. That's the question of the day. Is it going to be netting or flipping? One thing, he's in a boat.
Two things, size and how many you already got in the boat. So if you're struggling today, you net them. And then if you got a real big fish, you net them. But it's a two-sided thing with me.
When I hook a fish, the first thing I want to do is try to see where the fish is hooked. If the lure is deep down in his mouth and he's a size that I can flip in the boat safely, then I'll do that. If he's hooked on the outside of the mouth where the hook may come loose, I'll certainly use the net. Or if it's a big fish, like Dudley said, we don't want to lose him, we'll use the net.
There we go. Said he looked at it?
Yeah, he looked at it. See him going down the shoulder?
Yep.
Nobody bit this lure. It's the only one I got. I can't flip in there. This big one I caught Saturday.
You would like to have him Saturday, wouldn't you?
Feel like it would have worked out.
That would have been too good with Saturday, wouldn't you? All righty.
Right in your living room, huh?
The net is one of your most important pieces of fishing equipment because it can mean the difference between a fish dinner or a fish story. One common mistake I see being made when you're catching especially those really big drum or redfish is people grabbing the net here to net it. The strength is not here and the net will break. You're better off grabbing it here where you got plenty of strength.
Fish in the 6 to 8 pound range, I've broken rods trying to flip them. And speckled trout, I would say anything over 4.5, 4 pounds, I try to net those. We just don't want them to get away. But 4 pounders will flip in the boat.
See him in that net?
He might be 20, 18.
That's one, too. Oh, Dudley's got one back there in the back.
You flip a net.
You do a double net.
Let's do one net.
My bail's open.
Yeah.
All right.
Dudley's gonna flip.
If you need something.
Let's see, where's my other rod? Maybe they might hit that spinnerbait. That's a flipper.
Yep.
Look at the blue tail.
Momentum. A lot of people lose fish by getting them next to the boat, and when they pull harder and faster and pull the rest of the way. If you keep going same speed, same momentum, lift them over the gunnel, they'll go right into the boat without a problem. That's the ones that want to jump in the boat.
Now, when you caught them last time, you were there, small ones might too.
Some of them were mixed. There was a big one. And that is a flipper.
You always try to use a net on the flounder. Get them next to the boat and do a figure 8 until you can slip the net under them.
Another trout, huh?
Looks like another flipper.
That tail, boy, that tail is lit up.
I use the same equipment all the time, so, that's really not an issue. But, if you got 3 or 4 fish in and you got a good fish, you might as well do it. If you got 50 fish in, you flip them all the time.
That one I wasn't doing anything. It was drifted or whatever you want to call it. Well, I always instruct head first. If you hit them in the tail, they can swim out. Hit them in the head. Usually if they swim forward, they're just going to end up in the net anyway.
Oh, I thought that was you. I thought that was your bait. All right, Mike, make the call here. What's it going to be?
Oh, this is a netter.
Let's go for the net. Oh, there you go. Whether you're netting or you're flipping, as Mike always will tell you, put them in the boat.